This is Dr. Matt Barber of Alabama Orthopedic Clinic. We are proud supporters of Ransom Reprogram, Ransom Ministries, and all of the good work that they do in our community. If you would like to learn more about us, check us out at alortho.com or barbertotaljoint.com. You can also hear more from me personally on the Ortho Real podcast. Thank you again for allowing us to be involved with Ransom Ministries and all of the great work that they do.
Hey, welcome to the Ransom Experience. My name is Matt Armbruster, Executive Director of Ransom Ministries. You're going to hear stories from people that we've served and people that serve alongside us, as well as those that we partner with throughout our community. You're going to hear about decisions they made throughout their life and things that happened through different avenues of their life that caused them to go down a path that they didn't see themselves going. And then also those decisions that they have to make on a daily basis to stay away from those decisions that they made in the past. Ransom Ministries empowers people to utilize their God-given gifts and talents in their career and for their community. All along the way, we learn how to help those close to us and also maybe even help ourselves. This is real. This is raw. This is Ransom.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
This show is brought to you by Ransom Recycling, your number one choice for electronic recycling in Mobile, Alabama. Help reduce waste in our landfills by recycling all of your unwanted, unused, and non-working electronics. Ransom Recycling is a division of Ransom Ministries that is helping to put men and women back to work. Check out ransomministries.com for a complete list of acceptable items. Drop-offs and pickups can be easily scheduled through the website. Please note that we are not accepting TVs at this time. Ransom Recycling, open 8 to 3 Monday through Friday. Help our planet while helping men and women re-enter the workforce.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ransom Experience, where we spend a few minutes with people that have been in our program, people that have volunteered, and just people that care about other people. So today on this Ransom Experience, we bring someone that went through our program back in 2019, and this is Brooke. She lives in Florida. Brooke, it's so great to have you here.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here. I'm very grateful to be able to share my testimony. So thank you for having me.
Well, it's an honor because we've sat and watched you over the last 3 years, probably almost 3 years, really excel and your kids and being there for them. And this is one of the only times I've been able to do one on my phone. So it might sound a little bit different, but it's the message is going to be the same. So I'm going to start this out, kind of tell us a little bit about your life and kind of your childhood, teenage years.
Okay, so as a young child, I was born to a young single mother, and times were tough, and she always, looked to the Lord to take care of me, and God always provided. And then I had a younger sister come along, and, God always provided for all three of us, no matter what. So when I was a child, I experienced, some behavior from people in my family and, close by that there was, I guess I could say that there was a lot of tension and bitterness in my family at that time, and a lot of people didn't get along, and a lot of the children, growing up in the family witnessed that kind of stuff. So I saw a lot of fighting, arguing, and I saw my mom get abused a lot emotionally by family members, and, she still stood strong through that. So, I think seeing that kind of created some kind of trauma for me. It kind of planted a seed of fear, and, just seeing that darkness, and just, it kind of, started fear. Fear tried to creep in. And then as I got older, as a teenager, I was a really artsy teenager. I stayed to myself a lot. I loved music. I loved to travel. And, I did have good times as a teenager, but, that fear, kind of grew a little bit more, and it looked different, since I was older and whatnot. And I was afraid of people, and I didn't really like to talk or initiate connection or conversation. But I have a lot of good memories from my teen years, but I was rejected quite a bit. I just didn't feel like I really fit in, and I wasn't welcomed in. I just kind of felt like just Brooke, like there was just no one, but it was just me, and that was really tough. And that led to other things later. But it wasn't a horrible childhood or teen years, but there were those things that the enemy was going to try to use against me that God would use later. So
yeah, so you grew up and you grew up in Florida, correct?
Yes. I was born in Ohio, but we moved down to Florida. We lived in different areas, but I grew up mostly in Destin. So
okay, so you came. So let me ask you. So as you grew up and became an adult,
yes.
kind of where did it go? Where'd your life go then as an adult?
So when I turned, I was between 18, 19. Life was okay, but then I started really making bad choices. That came from a lot of peer pressure. I mean, no one forced me to do anything, but I didn't know the word no and how to stand up for myself and speak against things. So that's where I had my first encounter with drugs and like very bad relationships with men and such. And then, that went on, and a lot of guilt and shame came to the surface that I dealt with. And then, not long after, I had my first daughter. And so when I was pregnant with my first daughter, the Lord kind of told me he was going to use that situation to turn my life around.
Uh-huh.
So that's when things really slowed down as far as like bad decisions. Like I knew like in my heart that I really had to straighten up and that I needed to be her mom. And that was my only goal at that point, was to, be the mom I knew God was calling me to be, because my daughter was now here. So
yeah. So you think that a lot of that, like not being able to say no, trying to fit in or whatever, had a lot to do with the fear and the fighting and the stuff from your past that you saw? You think that had something to do with it?
Yes, definitely. Because, the fear came in as like, oh, like, well, what are they going to say to you? How are they going to react if you say no or reject what they're offering? Like, what are they going to say of you? Like, what are they going to say to others about you? That was like a fear of mine, of what how other people treated me. Like, reactions from me speaking up, just, it ran that deep to where like I was afraid of like how I was going to be seen, or, like those kinds of things.
Yeah, because that's a lot of times for like people out there wondering why we act a certain way or react a certain way is because of some of the things, sometimes trauma, sometimes things we saw, seeing your mother have to go, be emotionally abused, really, then you didn't want to deal with that. And so the best thing to do is just ignore or, stay away from it. And the way we do that is just submit to whatever is happening. We don't rock the boat. We don't do any of that. So, and that really just makes it worse in the long run, because then we're doing things we know we're not supposed to do. But
yes, definitely.
Because one thing I know, meeting you back then, you were a very caring person. I could see the artsy, and you were still pretty shy when you first came.
Yes, I was.
But I think that it was a lot to do with all that you were carrying around.
Yeah.
So then as you kind of went about making some wrong choices, whatever it might be, tell me how, because we got together because of my partnership with the Home of Grace. And so how did you get from Destin, Florida to 8 Mile, Alabama?
Okay, so right before I had, came in connection with Home of Grace, things spiraled really out of control, and I knew that something had to be done, or I was either going to wind up somewhere I didn't want to be, or I could even lose my life. And so there was a ministry, and the founder, her name is Stephanie McMinn, and her ministry is called Be Generous. And that's based in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, which isn't far from Destin. She does it in all that county area. And she helped a lot of women get to the Home of Grace. And so when that opportunity was given to me, she helped me, she helped usher me into the Home of Grace. So, God made a way through her for me to go there. Because she had helped other people that I love, go through the program. And so it was finally, my turn to be there. And it's definitely a big, kind of a distance to be in Destin. And then one day, you end up at the Home of Grace where you'll be for some time, but yeah, that's pretty much how I even found out about it, and how I came into the program was definitely a bridge, built by the Lord already.
So have you pretty much always had a relationship really with the Lord? I mean, even because it sounded like your mom was pretty in tune with what God was doing and all that.
Yes, definitely. My mom always took us to church every Sunday. We were involved Wednesday nights, and I saw my mom worship and, lean into the Lord and really love him. And anything that she needed, I just knew and witnessed her, depend on him for that. And so, I was raised in church, and I knew the Holy Spirit, and I knew that, he was always there. He's always been there in my heart, regardless.
Well, that's cool because, there's a lot of people out there that think, if you've been into drugs or you've done it, got pregnant, whatever it might be, that you don't know the Lord, but that's not necessarily true because
definitely not. Yeah.
Because there's so many people out there that the reason they don't share those things is because they don't want to be looked at different because of that.
Right.
I think a lot of times we judge people before we really get to know them. So that's what I think is really cool about your story is that it's telling us hey, this thing is not a respecter of person. It doesn't matter how many times you go to church. It doesn't matter how much you pray. It doesn't matter how much you don't pray. Right. It still can happen to anyone if you're not aware. And so, so you came here, and we were partnered with them. So really the last month that you were at Home of Grace, you came here for Ransom Reprogram, which we started with them. Tell me a little bit about what you thought when you first came and kind of some of the things you might have learned as you got there. And then we'll cover some other things as we move on. But just tell me a little bit about that experience.
You mean coming into the Home of Grace?
Coming into the Ransom Reprogram that last month.
Right. So when I learned of the program and that, we were going to be coming every day, I was really, really excited because, it was, something different than what we were doing every day, since before then. So I learned of, what your ministry was about and what all it entailed. And I was really excited to dig in and see what I was going to learn and who I was going to meet and, what tools I was going to gain. And so when we first started, I was so excited to be there and to meet you guys. And I felt so welcomed and I felt like family. And I always looked forward to coming, into the class and sitting and listening to you. So that was a big treat for me.
Well, good. So now Tell me a little bit about your life now. What's it like?
So now, so I'm, raising my two daughters. I'm a preschool teacher at a church I grew up in Destin. When we first moved to Destin, my mom was a preschool teacher there for like over 15 years, and now I'm one. So I do love kids, and so that's a cool ministry that I get to be a part of as well. I'm involved with the ministry that helped me get to the Home of Grace, Be Generous, and I love to help minister to women my age, or even young men my age, and just tell people my story and what God did for me, and share my testimony. And, I'm still in Destin, enjoying the beach, and I travel a lot, and I love to, I do praise and worship sometimes. I've done that a few times. I've led it at certain events by a couple ministries. There's probably more to come of that. So I love to sing for the Lord and share his heart, and, through song. And I'm not where I want to be just yet, but I'm grateful and thankful that I'm not anywhere near where I used to be. So there's, lots of things I know the Lord is preparing for me and my daughters, and wonderful, great things that I know he has on the way. But, as of right now, I'm just enjoying, ministering to people, whether it be through love or my story or song or friendship or, anything. So, and my daughters get to see that now. They get to see their mom, live for the Lord and, overcome everything that I have. And that's one of the parts I'm most grateful for, is that my daughters get to see that and then become women of God themselves, and that's already taking place. So I'm very grateful for everything that I have right now. So
well, it is great to hear that, because I was thinking about when you were here and kind of your goals and the things you wanted to do, and I know one of them was to be at a teacher at the daycare. You love, like you said, you love kids, and the other was to minister. So you're doing pretty much everything and tracking on those goals. So you might not be where you want to be, but you're definitely where you visioned yourself being. And that's what's really cool, is many people will set goals and set visions for where they want to see their life, but they never really pursue it. And it seems like you have pursued that. And only time I get to keep up with you is on social media, so it's always so much fun to watch you with your kids and see pictures of y'all at the beach and doing things that you normally would not have got to do if you'd kept on the path you were going down. And that is a blessing for your kids, because they now have their mom, they spend time with you, and now they're seeing you live out your purpose. And that's really exciting, and I love to watch it, and because we have a lot that don't do that, and so it's like I love seeing you live in your purpose, and that's really what we talk about in Reprogram, and they talk about that at Home of Grace, is that you have to find your purpose and live it out. And I know that your purpose is to raise those kids in the Lord, and I know you're doing that. So I'm going to ask you one more question. I know it's Friday, and you got things to do. Probably go to the beach, since you live at the beach, which would be awesome. But I'm in Chickasaw, Alabama. There ain't too many beaches up here, but
true.
So what would you say to someone facing struggles similar to the ones that you've overcome?
So I would want them to know that there is hope and there is a future waiting for them, from the Lord. The Lord says, I give you a future and a hope, not to hurt you or harm you, but to, give you a wonderful life. And, the Lord wants to give us things and reward us with things. And he delights in us, to see us thrive and, be happy and joyful. And it's not that every season in life is, going to be so over the moon joyful. It's just how you handle it. And it's all about giving and trusting your season into, in the Lord's hands, and trusting him in those low moments and in those high moments, or the in between. And, surrender is so worth it, and it's so worth the cost. And, when you surrender, that's when you experience God's grace, is when you hand over what you've been holding on to for so long, and what's been, keeping you in bondage, and all the strongholds is, you totally have authority over all your strongholds. You have every say so to say, I don't want this in my life anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't need that anymore. I, put it at the foot of the cross, and the Lord will take all those burdens and throw them away into the depths of the sea, and he'll make everything bloom again, new again. And, with the Lord, it's a never ending life. He gives eternal life. Everything that he is eternal. So everything that you experience with God will never end. And so it's all worth it.
That's right. And that's the key. It's all worth it. And the sacrifice is worth it. And surrender is worth it. And if you ever want to know if it's worth it, you can look at Brooke's life and you can see that it's been worth it. And I'm guarantee that there's no other option. There's no option of going back to where it was. And we're learning this week, Brooke, here that that word, there's no other option. You have to get to that point where you realize, I can't go back. This is the only option I have, is to stay focused and moving forward and living out my goals and all that. So, man, it has been so good to talk to you. It's been too long, but like I said, I keep up with you on social media, and we are so proud of the mom you are.
Thank you.
Of the person you are, and just keep living that purpose. And when you're in, if you're ever this way, come see us.
Oh, definitely.
If I lived in Destin, I don't know if I'd ever leave, but but I appreciate you coming on today. I know the people out there were blessed. And you guys, I hope that you'll join us again on the next week. We have these every Wednesday, brand new ones. You can follow us on anywhere that you get your podcasts. We can go on Apple Podcasts. You can go to our website, ransomministries.com, and you can find the link there. You can also find out more about what we do. Most of all, I just hope that you share this with your friends, share this with those that are hurting, that are struggling, and hopefully this will bring them back to reality and teach them to live out their purpose. Brooke, thanks again for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much.
We hope that you continue to live out that purpose. And until then, we'll see y'all next week.